Thank you. As you can see from part 1 of this video, Fulanis have reasons to be proud of their leadership's achievements over southern politicians, military generals, professors, diplomats, chiefs, and Christian movements. Though I do not share some of their operational and leadership philosophies, the truth is I admire the Fulanis for achievements in Nigeria with little or no personal resource commitments, other than a mission, leadership, organization, and forward planning. This should summon the Igbos to revisit their own history, evaluate their leadership, and develop strategies to avert any impending calamities. For this reason, it is worth reminding Igbos and their leaders about their recent past. Igbo race bore the brunt of the West African slave trade, and known to be the most industrious and also rebellious. For example, most recorded slave rebellions were led by Igbo slaves. In Savannah, Georgia, 1803, Igbo slaves drowned themselves rather than be kept as slaves. Evidence that Igbo value freedom, independence, progress, and advancement. It is worth reminding that the victimization and marginalization of today existed even as far back as 1949. The British disliked and punished the Igbos for their supposedly arrogance and argumentativeness. Are they really? Igbo are vastly misunderstood and misrepresented. Genetically, Igbo are created diligent, resilient, strong-willed, proud, progressive, competitive, and highly independent. The late famous writer Langston Hughes wrote, and I quote, "The Igbo looks proud because he is bred in a free atmosphere where everyone is equal. He has to depend on anyone for his life's need. He is strong and able to work or fight. He is generally happy in his society where no one overrides his conscience. He likes to advance and he is quick to learn. He likes to give rather than to take," unquote. These are the attributes Igbo leaders have failed to communicate and promote aggressively across Nigeria. They remain the major source of Igbo hatred and envy. Not surprising, the British Prime Minister Harold Wilson feared our future such that he vowed never to allow Igbo nation to exist, no matter the millions of dead Igbos from starvation and bullets. Now, if we had true and selfless leaders, this pronouncement is enough to invest heavily in our future and trigger the best in Igbos, the greatest African race on earth. Unlike the Jews, Armenians, Rwanda, and Darfur genocides, the Igbo genocide has been neglected by the government of Nigeria, scholars, activists, and community leaders due to weak, compromised, or non-existent Igbo leadership. Now, are you aware that in March 1945, Igbo residents were massacred in Jos, followed in 1953 by another gruesome massacre in the city of Kano? Leading functionaries of the Northern Nigeria Native Administration were deeply involved in the planning. Now, similarly, in 1966, another genocide against the Igbo was conceived, planned, and executed with the support of public officials, including northern emirs, district heads, former politicians, top civil servants, university students, British nationals, and law enforcement officers. Lest we forget, the Nigeria-Biafra War was imposed on the Igbos. Early 1967, Eastern Nigeria, harboring about 1.8 million refugees, sought restitution after successive genocides of the May 29, July 29, September 29, and October 29, 1966. A British-organized conference in Aburi, Ghana, yielded a signed treaty. Pressurized, General Gowon reneged on the agreement, leading to the Biafra secession. On 7 July 1967, the federal government declared war. The instruction to soldiers was clear and on record. Kill every Igbo to avoid a repeat of the German World War II experience, in which they survived and later dominated the world technologically. Starvation was used as a weapon against Igbo civilians. Hunger killed more Igbos than bullets and bombs. Mothers could not provide breast milk for their babies, as they too were famished, malnourished, and dying of starvation. They carried children reduced to living skeletons, bloated bellies, and dying like flies. More than 1 million innocent civilians died of starvation. In Asaba, over 1,000 innocent Igbos were senselessly and brutally massacred. Wole Soyinka was imprisoned over Biafra. Steve Jobs of Apple Corporation abandoned Christianity in protest against Igbo genocide. John Lennon returned his MBE to the Queen. Jimi Hendrix played concerts to feed starving Igbos. Dr. Kano Ibiam returned his Queen's honors for Biafra's sake. Bruce Mayrock, a young American student, burnt himself to death, protesting the Igbo genocide. The million-dollar question is this: what are Igbo and their leaders prepared to sacrifice to avert future calamities and restore security and progress for the Igbo race? There remains ominous signs that should keep Igbo and genuine leaders on their toes and with all eyes wide open. For example, northern states occupy over 752,000 square kilometers of land space. Anambra, Enugu, Abia, Imo, and Ebonyi total 29,000 square kilometers. Kogi State alone is 30,000 square kilometers. Niger State alone is 76,000 square kilometers. The entire southeast is a little less than Kogi State. Yet, Igbo states are under pressure to share this little space with imported aliens, with conflicting religious and cultural values. Not as visitors, but indigents. No one queries why the huge interest in 29,000 square kilometers rather than 752,000 square kilometers of space in the north. The satanic verses called the 1999 Constitution, with all the limitations it imposes on Igbo security, progress, and development, is another minefield. Listen to the frustrations of our elder statesman, Nonyerem.
49 people selected to write a constitution, wrote a constitution. 40 people in the Supreme Military Council promulgated a constitution for us. Under General Abubakar, government in which I served, I was in executive council. I never saw the draft constitution, and I was Minister of Information. It was my responsibility to publicize it to the country. On the day of swearing in of Obasanjo, we didn't have a copy of the constitution. I didn't know who was printing it, and my ministry was supposed to pay for the printing. And Obasanjo was sworn on a constitution that had not been read by anybody. And the National Assembly could not be constituted until 4 days after he swearing in, because there was no clean copy of the constitution. You cannot build on quicksand, and the country cannot live on falsehood.
The Nigeria of Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, and Tafawa Balewa has taken serious battery. Presently, Igbo lack a leadership fit for the new Nigerian realities. That gap gave birth to resistance movements like IPOB. In critical mass, Igbo need leaders as capable and determined as the Fulani. Igbo need a new generation of selfless, patriotic, dedicated, and visionary leaders to execute the following agenda in the interest of this and future generations. Fight ignorance and misinformation out there on Igbos, with dedicated radio and TV stations, programs on the culture and values of the Igbo race, targeting Yoruba, Hausa, and Fulani youths. Igbo billionaires like Obi Kubana can support this. Assemble Igbo great minds from across the world and in all fields every 5 years to brainstorm and set milestone for the Igbo race, 20 to 50 years ahead. Tony Elumelu's charity and others can support this. Emphasize education, science, technology, and research in our primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, and raise funds locally and internationally to support competitive advantage in these areas. Igbo expatriates worldwide will support this, providing accountability is guaranteed. Daily, God exposes his gifts in technology and science to Igbo kids with little or no formal education. These talents, inventions, technologies, and science should be harvested and nurtured through a well-funded body of eminent scholars and business executives. State governments, companies, and universities can support the initiative. Periodically, it is important that we engage the Fulani, Hausa, and Yoruba leaders and strategic thinkers in debates on the future of Nigeria and how Igbo can make a difference in a new Nigeria. It's an opportunity to sell the values that make us who we are. Publicize and openly celebrate special historic dates, traditions, and beliefs, promoting Igbo history, culture, and values across Nigeria, and follow it up with a press conference. Swiftly recognize, publicize, and develop strategic response to security situations in our homeland, and with the support of the state governments, traditional leaders, and Igbo youths. Rescue, publicize the cases of Igbo youths and adults languishing in jails, military detentions, and slaughtered for expressing desire to be free and progress in their homeland. Identify, expose, and deal with saboteurs no matter their rank in society. Hold Igbo representatives at federal and state levels accountable. Sponsor and promote new generation of politicians to take over from poor performing and compromised representatives. That's not too much to ask, is it? On issues that require national consultations and consensus, negotiate from position of strength with all the skills, wisdom, confidence, and generosity of the Igbo race. Develop strategies to unite pockets of Igbos, politically carved out through state creation, including rivers and delta, and nurture strategic partnerships with people of Middle Belt, Ibibio, Anang, Efik, and more. Now, next to God's power is political power given only by the people. Hold regular meetings with church leaders to seek support in reinforcing unity, political activism, family discipline, traditional Igbo values, and respect for rule of law. We need it. Now, formulate a constitution or codes of conduct for the Igbo race to be taught at schools and workshops held in communities. Evil has descended on Igbo land and must be destroyed. Ritual killings, kidnapping, assassinations, cannibalism, and others. Make time to study your enemies and neighbors. Make time to know yourselves and strike out the saboteurs. Finally, who emerges the Igbo president or governor of Igbo states must no longer be left to political parties and their sponsors alone. It is suicidal installing a foreign agent to occupy and regulate the heartbeat of Igbo land. Ndi-Igbo, please note, your enemy is not Hausa, Fulani, or Yoruba. At worst, they are misinformed competitors. Your enemy is yourself, within and in leadership. Compromised Igbo leadership poses a calamitous threat to Igbo existence, survival, and progress. Unite and purge this leadership. We are of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and with the capacity to transform deserts into oases. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We are the light of Africa. Let's dream big for Africa's sake and build a new Jerusalem. Yes, we can. Of course, we can. Thank you so much. God bless and secure our homeland. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ndewono.
Thank you.